Mehak, let's start with the title of this book. What does LOL mean?
So LOL, as you would know, means love and affection and longing, also in this context, in Kashmiri. And when I set out to look for these stories, to interview people, I wanted to give the project a name from the get-go. And I think LOL Kashmir came to me pretty organically.
So, what about the theme of this book? ये आइडिया कैसे आया आपको कि इस थीम पे काम करके एक किताब लिख सकते हैं?
So I started this project in December of 2020. That was 1 year after the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A, right? And uske bilkul afterwards, COVID breakout ho gaya, and then we were all under lockdown for such a long time. So, but for Kashmiris, उनके लिए it was कि एक lockdown हुआ and then दूसरा lockdown हुआ, right? So, but of course the nature of the lockdowns are very different, because the first one after the abrogation was a communication lockdown. It was a clampdown on the voices of Kashmir, really. And then subsequently, when it was opening up and the phones were opening up and the internet was also opening up, but very slowly, like 2G speeds and stuff, that's when I think the COVID lockdown was announced. Um, so I had been hearing these stories of how people were reaching out to each other during that 2019 abrogation article ka lockdown. And, the ways in which they were finding, the ingenious ways in which they were finding, uh, ways to communicate with each other, to reach out to each other. And I felt that there was something in there. There were a lot of stories in there which, needed to be found out and told. Because as the Kashmir conflict is an enduring conflict, and it's been going on for many years, for decades, and I just felt that there is a human cost and human side of that conflict as well, which is the lived-in experiences of people going through it, and I wanted to look at that. And then specifically when I got into it, then I thought, okay, let me look at it just through the lens of love, to just narrow it down. And also because I found it really, intriguing to look for these stories, because I hadn't personally found real life love stories in Kashmir in a lot of things that I've read and seen in many years.
So the idea came to you in the lockdown of 2020 during the COVID.
Yeah, during the COVID, and which is a year after the article.
Mehak, if I'm not wrong, in 2019 you were in Kashmir, right?
I wasn't in Kashmir, so I'm a filmmaker and now an author. But at that time, I was working in Bombay. I am based out of Bombay, and I live here. And at that time, also, I was working in Bombay when the article happened over there. So I couldn't, like, my father was there. I couldn't reach out to him for a really long time as well. And I think it was through some police inspector from a nearby police station that we were able to contact him. Yeah.
Many of my friends have asked me about this book. There are 16 stories in it. Kindly clear the air, because they think these are fiction stories. Kindly clear the air. These are not the fiction stories. These are real 16 stories you have talked about in the book.
Yeah, they're real. I think even if you open the book and you see the flap of it, the first thing it says it is that there are 16 real life love stories from or stories of love rather from Kashmir. And like I said, I started the project in 2020, and I started interviewing people back then. And at that time, I think I spoke to over 60, 70 people. And them about their stories.
And out of those 70 people, you chose these 16.
Yeah, and out of that, so it has been, it's been a long process of really selecting and going through all of those stories and filing through them, looking through the interviews and everything.
So what was the selection process? How do you
go down to these 16 out of 70? How did you select these 16?
So I think when I started interviewing, a lot of the chunk of the stories, like the volume of them, were around the article. because it was so fresh, right? Around that time, and people wanted to share more from that time. But I also wanted more stories from before. So now, as you read the book, you can see that the stories are divided into three parts, which is Otra, Rat, and Az, and which means day before yesterday, and today. So I wanted to show, you know, all of these stories, but through different periods in Kashmir. So they start around the 90s during the height of the militancy, during the Kashmiri Pandit migration. Then they go over to the mid 2000s when, all those summers of unrest started happening in Kashmir, when Amarnath land row happened, when the Matsil fake encounter happened, all of that, right? And then they go over to the late 2010s, which is 2019, and then early 2020s, when the article happened. So I wanted to create that diversity and also kind of tell them in a chronological order. So inadvertently, because of that, I couldn't keep, a lot more stories in the Article 370 section rather than the others. And also because, when you're talking about one event, which is like the abrogation, because it is around the same time frame, a lot of these stories follow a certain similar narrative. So because of that, I couldn't be repetitive in the stories I was telling. So that's why all of them have been selected for a specific reason, really.
Mehak,
And
Mehak,
Mac, in a society like ours, how difficult was it for you to track down these lovebirds and get them on board for this project and write about them?
no, it was sometimes it was easy, sometimes it was hard. I would say it's a mixed bag, but I anticipated this from the very beginning because I know, Kashmir is a conservative society, and it's not like people don't love and they don't show their affections towards another. But when it comes to telling the world about it, they might not be very comfortable with that. So right in the beginning, when I had put out the project call for it, there was a Google form attached to it, which is how I used to get all the submissions. And then, people would write their name, their number, etc., why they were interested in this project, is this their story. So there was a section which said, do you want to be anonymous? So there was a yes or no. So I would know from the beginning whether they want to be anonymous or not. Of course, after I, reached out to them, then I used to speak to them on the phone and interview them. Some people change their mind after speaking to me, because in the beginning they don't know, I'm a stranger on the internet, right? मगर आफ्टर दैट जब हमने बात की, उनको लगता था चलो ठीक है, शायद अपना नाम देने में ठीक है, मगर काफी मुझे लगता है मेजोरिटी ऑफ जो लोग जो हैं उन्होंने अनोनिमस ही रहना प्रेफर किया. एंड अगर आप देखेंगे बुक में भी वहां पर एक डिस्क्लेमर है स्टार्टिंग में.
But out of 16 stories, I guess only 4 or 5 stories are anonymous, where the names have been
No,
changed.
I think more stories are anonymous. I think 5, 6 stories are the ones in which there are real names, if I'm not wrong.
yeah, that's so fine. Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Um, so I anticipated this, and because of that, yes, I do feel like even when you're interviewing people, you could see that there are certain reservations about saying some things or the other. But all in all, I think a lot of them really opened up to me, and I'm really thankful for that. But I think towards the end of it, when I started this in 2020, and the book came out in January 2025. So December 2020, right? तो 4 साल हो गए. अब 4 साल में मैं लिख रही हूँ book. I did made the project proposal, the book proposal. Then I got into a literary mentorship program where I worked on it. Then I got an agent. Then I got a publisher. Then I wrote the book. So it took me 4 years. And by the end of those 4 years, also because they are non-fiction stories, every publisher has their protocol. They say कि अगर non-fiction है, you have to go back and get permissions from all of these people, because nobody should come later on and say कि we don't give our consent anymore. So I had to go back to all of these people who are in the book and take releases from them, take permission from them, like written releases. And in that process, I actually did end up losing a few of those stories, because people had changed their mind. again, it's the same thing which you asked about. They were maybe at a different point in their relationship when I had spoken to them, and now they were at a different point. So again, they were like, okay, they're not comfortable with these stories being out there, even if they're anonymous. So that is a tricky thing. It's a slippery slope which I did have to traverse, but I was able to get the 16 stories in the book, which I think they're they really show what Lowell Kashmir is really about. So I'm happy that these are there.
Mac, just a shadowy question, nothing to do with book, but I must ask you this one. Your book, there are 3 sections in the book: Utr, Raat and Aaz. I just want to understand and know from you. क्या प्यार में कोई तब्दीली आ चुकी है? जैसा प्यार उत्र था वैसा कल नहीं था या अब आज नहीं होगा? क्या प्यार सेम है?
तब्दीली मुझे मतलब जैसे लोग प्यार करते हैं कश्मीर में, मुझे लगता है उसमें तो तब्दीली नहीं आई है, बिकॉज आई फील लाइक उन सेक्शंस को ऐसे डिवाइड करने का मतलब एक तो था कि हाँ जी टाइम पीरियड्स में डिवाइड करना है, बट आई थिंक आई ऑल्सो वांटेड टू शो दैट दिस इज अ कंटिन्यूअस thing which is going on in Kashmir, because if you think about Uttar, Raat and Aaz, it's like 3 days, consecutive days. But in the book, I'm talking about decades passing. But in Kashmir, it's almost like this is something which is ongoing for a really, really long time. And it still is, right? Like people are conducting their love, and they're really, reaching out to the people that they love, and finding their beloved and expressing their love to their beloved through these different periods. But there are so many similarities in them when you think about how they traverse all of these things through the unrest, through the different waves of unrest. It's not like every day something happens, but things do keep happening. So I did find those similarities in all of those stories over the years.
महक आप ये कह रही हैं कितनी भी डिफिकल्टीज हो, प्यार परसों भी वैसा ही था, कल भी वैसा ही है और आज भी वैसा ही रहेगा.
हाँ जी, मुझे लगता है आप कह सकते हैं वैसा. हाँ.
महक, my last 2 questions before we
Yeah.
wind up this short interesting interview. The first question.
Yes.
Is love forbidden in Kashmir?
No, I don't think love is forbidden in Kashmir. I think love is very much synonymous with Kashmir, because it is one of those things which keeps people alive and going. I think personally, I think love is a form of resistance in Kashmir, and if you read the stories in the book, you will really understand that for all of these people, even when there's so much uncertainty around them, and they don't, there's volatility around them, they do seek that one person in their life who kind of makes sense of all of it for them. And because they know that this other person is also going through the motions of it in the same way they are, I think it forms a bond, and I don't think it is forbidden. I think it would we can rather say that it is something which is not spoken about enough, especially when it's not, under the umbrella of marriage. And even then, I don't know how many married people really talk about their relationships or about their love. But I think people tend to, look for that in their relationship to finally culminate into marriage. But I would say, in general, love is not forbidden. It's very much there.
Meg, my last question. Can New Delhi snatch this affection, bond and love from Kashmiris?
New Delhi? Meaning?
New Delhi, the Indian establishment, the security forces.
Yeah.
Can they snatch this love from Kashmir?
I don't think so. I think the stories in the book are the testament that they can't.
My pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time, and let me hold your book once again so that it reaches maximum people. They buy it, read it, and understand what love is. Pleasure talking to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
Please subscribe to our channel Reportage and press the bell icon to remain updated.